Welcome to our second installation of Paranormal Activity in Plymouth, Michigan. I'm Jim Salamay from Plymouth Michigan Discoveries, and you are here in our wonderful community of Plymouth, Michigan. Our community was first settled in 1825 and has a deep richness of history. Many of our forefathers are actually buried in the local cemeteries, but some folks in our community believe that their spirits still linger on. Now folks, I'm not a believer in ghosts, and I'm all about facts. I'm going to share some facts with you regarding the history of homes here in our community, which can be verified simply by checking the archives of the Plymouth Historical Museum. As for the ghost stories, well, I can't verify those ghost stories, but throughout my research, people in the community have shared their stories with me, and I'm going to share them with you. Let's get started. 689 North Mill Street. This home was actually built in 1911 for Carl Heide. Carl Heide was very well known in our community because of the fact that he actually owned Heide's Flowers and Heide's Greenhouse. That was located in the part of our community that a lot of people know as Old Village today, and was known as Lower Town for many years. Folks, he passed away in 1941. Nobody else owned this house, but today it's been said that there have been quite a few apparitions and strange activity that have gone on in this house. I don't know if I can totally believe these stories, but folks, these are the stories that are told to me. I am told that this is another house here in Plymouth that apparently is haunted. 13401 Back Road. This is actually in Plymouth Township, and folks, this house was actually built in 1841. Little do people realize that this house was actually moved. It used to be on North Territorial, and in the 70s it was actually lifted and moved to its current location, which is still on the same property. Here's one thing that never changed though, is that apparently there was some paranormal activity in this house before it ever moved. And then when it moved to its current location, the activity seemed to grow even more than what had been experienced in the past. At the time of this video actually being recorded, the house is for sale, so I can't get into too many details because I don't want to affect the sale of this home. It's a great home, it's beautiful, it's got a lot of character in there. But unfortunately, I've been told there are many characters that come out of this house at night. Folks, this is another one of those homes that somebody who's actually lived in this house in the past has told me has experienced a number of paranormal activities throughout the house, especially at night. And they've told me they believe this house is haunted. This is 215 North Main Street. This home was built circa 1885 by a gentleman known as Elmer Chafee. Chafee was actually one of the first investors of the Markham Air Rifle Company. That is the company that got the whole air rifle industry started right here in Plymouth, Michigan. Folks, when he passed away, the home eventually became a funeral home. So when it comes to the paranormal activity that people are experiencing in this house today, it's not a matter of whether it's Elmer Chafee or not. It's almost a matter of who could it possibly be, because people have been experiencing all sorts of different paranormal activity, seeing visions in windows, seeing lights coming on and off, and things of that sort. We don't know who it could be. All we know is there are folks here in town that claim that this house is haunted. 615 North Mill Street, in an area that many now know as Old Village, but for many years was known as Lower Town. It was built in 1878 by Christian Peter Hans, who served in the 16th Infantry during the Civil War. He had a twin brother who actually lived right nearby that also served in the Civil War. His last 2 years of his life, he actually suffered quite a bit, was quite ill for the past couple years of his life, and he had a lot of friends. A lot of people knew him, and he was a great person in the community that was well liked. After his death, though, it's been said that many people started to experience paranormal activity. As a matter of fact, today, there is people who now run businesses out of that same location who said they've been experiencing some very strange, what appear to be paranormal activity, such as lights coming on and off, rooms that would be warm all of a sudden becoming cold in just a matter of seconds. So these are just some of the things that people have experienced, and there are folks who say this house is haunted. 48121 North Territorial. This home was built circa 1849 by Samuel Dunn. In the 1930s, it was actually purchased by Clinton Gottschalk, who not only farmed this land, but he was also a local contractor who built a number of homes in Plymouth that are still standing today. Now folks, this is actually no story about a haunted house. This is a story about a haunted barn. Unfortunately, in the late 1800s, Samuel Dunn himself chose to commit suicide. He hung himself in the barn, and now today it's been said that there have been a number of apparitions inside the barn and all sorts of things that have been happening that can only be answered by the paranormal. 187 Adams Street. This house was built in 1834. Now think about that. All the years that this house has been standing and all the history that's gone on around it. Folks, this is one of the oldest homes in Plymouth. And, in my opinion, although I'm not a believer in ghosts, based on what the owners have told me about this house, it has got to be one of the most haunted houses in all of Plymouth. This house at one time was actually owned by a woman who claimed to be a witch. Yes, I said a witch. Sandy also had a daughter who has also witnessed all the paranormal activity that's gone on in this house. Everything from things physically moving from one side of the room to the other, apparitions in the house, and there again, experiencing rooms that you walk into where they can be warm 1 minute and then in a matter of seconds they turn ice cold. Folks, I don't know what's going on in this house, but from all the stories that have been told to me, this has got to be one of the most haunted houses in Plymouth.
All right, folks. Well, I've had an opportunity of sharing some history with you and sharing some of the stories that have been told to me. One of the people that I have here with me today is Joe Francis, and Joe is part of the Plymouth Ghost Hunters group. Joe, if you could tell us a little bit about your group, what it is you do, and maybe even tell us the best way to find you and find out more information.
Okay. Well, we're called the Plymouth Ghost Hunters, like Jim said, and we're interested in the paranormal. What we do is go into a client's house or business and try to confirm their claims. That's all we do. And we have a various amount of equipment that'll help us out, point us in the right direction.
Now, when you actually go to a location that's claimed to be haunted, I mean, how many people are generally involved with finding out whether or not a place is haunted?
Well, usually we have from 3 to 10 people come with us, and I'll spread out 7 or 8 cameras, 7 or 8 digital recorders, the K2 meters. We have different kind of cameras that see in different ways. We use that. Basically, all you're doing is sitting in the dark, talking to thin air.
Okay.
That's what it seems like.
So then I also have a question that I'm sure that the audience is very interested in, because I've told some ghost stories and I've shared some history and things like that. What do you think about the stories that I've told today? Are they true or not?
I think they would be true. Any client that has a claim, they're 100% correct until we're told otherwise by the house. I mean, Plymouth has such rich history, and be it Civil War soldiers, ornery people that don't want to go away, that passed on. I would believe anything in Plymouth. So I tend to believe the clients when they tell me a claim, and usually you can feel it when you walk in the house.
Okay.
So right out of the gate, and that's when I get excited.
Well, folks, another thing that I wanted to share with you is the fact of whether or not the specific stories, the specific ghost stories, shall we say, that I've shared with you today are true. I would say your best bet is to probably follow your group, the Plymouth Ghost Hunters. And can you tell everybody the best way to follow the Ghost Hunters? Where can we find you?
Right now it's just Facebook, Plymouth Ghost Hunters. Like and share it, and we'll go from there.
Well, thank you very much, Joe. I appreciate you coming down and kind of sharing your information. Folks, there again, you can find the Plymouth Ghost Hunters on Facebook. So if you want to learn more specific information about ghost hunting and things like that, that's the group to follow. Check them out. And thank you very much, Joe. Thanks for watching our second installation of Paranormal Activity in Plymouth, Michigan. I'm Jim Salamay from Plymouth Michigan Discoveries, and if you want to learn more about the history of homes here in our wonderful community of Plymouth, all you have to do is check out my webpage at plymouthproud.com. You can also find me on Facebook at Plymouth Michigan Discoveries, and if you want to learn more about the Plymouth Ghost Hunters, you can also find them on Facebook. Thanks again for watching.